My name is Nancy Fox. I'm a psychic medium. I've been in my profession since 2010. In the angel board, my hobby, since 2005. And I did it when I was 10, 11 years old. I could do it then alone also. And I've been trying to prove that they human sex traffic families by railroading, framing, victimizing, and violating their citizens' rights. And I've sent many letters with the facts and also my psychic tips all over, Justice Department, White House, Jerry Brown, Sacramento, you name it. I sent it there, many, many letters explaining the railroading, victimizing, citizens' rights violated, which is not just in America. And I put the facts with the facts that have happened to me that I've suffered, the pain and suffering and victimizing and railroading and slandering I've experienced, and I put that with my psychic reading and piece it all together. And also I mind read criminals, and I'm a medium clear. And the beings that come in my being speak out of my mouth and write for me by my hands and type with me rather. And I often will include some facts as I'm channel writing for them, such as an address or some street name or something that I know. They might be explaining something, and then I'll add in facts. And I've explained it many ways for many years, and I'm still not getting my mail. And I've worked very hard to raise victims' money and stop traffic office money and haven't received a nickel of it. My psychic readings say that it's coming all the time, round the clock, and it's all being ripped off. And so is my mail. And I wanted to explain the facts because my psychic readings are been explaining this whole time that they frame people to victimize them, to railroad them to a courthouse that they would never belong in, and they do this to human sex traffic them, to capture them, and it's to capture them to barbaric, torturing, horrific slavery under LA County, Mississippi swamplands, New York City, Nevada, and Reno is brainwashed right now, and Carson City is brainwashed. So that's a tip to follow up on and get them the facts and the truth of the situation and the danger everybody's in is they traffic by Sting technology so nobody can see what they're doing. So I wanted to explain the real estate facts that my psychic readings say people are lying and have been lying, and also the other reason they're doing that is because they steal my guru money, my Son of God psychic money that has come since 2005. So 8 years or 7.5 years or 8 years or whatever it is, 7.5 years or so, they steal my Son of God psychic money. And they frame me to steal my money, and they framed us to human sex traffic us, and they do it with I Spy that they edit. And just want to explain, I'm a rape victim. I was raped at 17. I'm sober since age 25, and I'm very psychic, intuitive, and overprotective of my daughters, just very careful of them because I'm a rape victim. And my attitude always is, yeah, that could happen. It happened to me. I didn't even tell them I was raped until the stalkers came in 2008, and I dreamed of a 911 emergency, and my reading said they're trying to kidnap and rape us. And that is when I told them I was raped when I was 17. I never told them before that. But I wanted to explain the facts, as my tips say, that they frame people by lying, and they victimize them by lying, and they ruin their livelihood by lying and framing and copy-pasting and setting up. So I want to give the facts, and then you can prove the framing and victimizing and slandering and all of that. And it's violating citizens' rights. That I know because I don't get my business mail. Medium for God DBA is my business, and that's my profit name, my profit writing name I've used since 2009. Many email addresses, WordPresses, and many email addresses. My stationery that I have here, Medium for God, I got early 2010. And that's my profit stationery that I faxed along with my handwriting and typed profit writing. And then this is my business card, Medium for God. That's who I am, is a medium for God. And God says I'm the only medium for God, and that's who I am. And people are stealing my money and pay. And I've been using this name since 2009, and then I registered my profit name about a year ago, DBA, and I also do my readings on the phone and in person through that business. That's also my PayPal connected to it, and bank account and post office box are all Medium for God, doing business as an individual. And that medium number 4, Jesus God at AOL, is my PayPal, and God says they're ripping me off left and right. Many people line they're my associates, and no, I work alone. Mediums work alone. Medium clear, I speak, I write, just me, myself, and I. Mediums work by themselves. So there are no associates. Haven't hired anybody, haven't received a nickel of stop traffic office money that I've written letters for many years. When I have that money, I will lease an office and hire assistants. And that's what I planned to do when I was a reader in Sherman Oaks. I was working very hard for stop traffic office money to lease a place on Ventura Boulevard and hire employees. And haven't seen a penny, didn't get my mail at my Sherman Oaks post office box either. I've written many book deal letters, and I've done a lot of publicity trying to make myself a famous, well-known, accurate psychic, so people know I'm an accurate psychic medium, so they will publish my book so I can save people's lives. So the more people know who I am, and the more famous I am, then the more people will be saved, because then they will take my prophet writing seriously. And so I've worked very hard at this for 5 years, and not a penny or a letter to Medium for God, it has not come, except a couple advertising things in a church. But nothing stopped traffic. No money, no victims' money, and God says they've been sending it since 2009 when I started faxing the letters. So I wanted to explain again some facts. So in my 20s, I was a wardrobe costume designer, nominated for an Emmy, made a good living on TV shows, feature films, a huge resume of feature films and movies that I worked on that anybody can look up on imdb.com, Nancy G. Fox. And that's my costume designer name. And I was nominated for an Emmy with Martin Sheen, and I've been sober since February 9th, 1985. January of 2000, I was legally separated from my ex-husband, Darren Taylor, and that is, anyway, legally separated and all assets split, and he signed off on our house to be property share. I paid the bills alone, the mortgage, everything, fixed up the house by refinancing in 2005 with the intent to sell it for a fixed price. A realtor since 1999, and I trained to be a realtor a year before that, a year and a half, and jumped right in 6 months before the divorce, and provided for my daughters a loan selling real estate. So I fixed up the house with refi money in 2005, planning to sell it at a high price, and then did sell it and bought River Farm Drive with my money. And before that, I bought my condominium, my first property, when I was 28 years old in Studio City. And all in my 20s, I always said, if I'm not a costume designer, I'll be a realtor. And my mom always said, you'll be a great realtor. And I was one always looking at open houses and always reading I'd always read calendar and real estate section every Sunday, and always looking at looking at properties, so just market know-how. So natural realtor, my aunt and uncle were big brokers in Westwood also when I was a kid. So I grew up around real estate and got my license in 1999 and bought my condo in Studio City at 28 with my money, and then sold it, made $50,000, bought our house in Valley Glen on Colbath Avenue, which is a section of Van Nuys, which is a beautiful street, great pocket they call it. A lot of our neighbors were in the film industry, and really nice, great street. So a lot of people in the film industry, makeup, or I think she's makeup, and ADs, and producers, another costume designer, and all film, eclectic type of street, really beautiful street in Valley Glen. And so we sold that house. I sold it myself for sale by owner and lost my $50,000 we put down on it. Bought our house on Chandler in Westlake Village. That I looked for 2 years out there at all the tracks and knew all the neighborhoods from looking for ourselves. So I went out there every weekend or after school with my daughters and looked at houses, and they'd go to the park to figure out if we want to live in Oak Park or Las Virgenes Canyon, Gore Hills, and Lake Lindero, and many areas, and ended up in Chandler. I saw it in the paper. Owner will carry the loan, the second loan. So we moved in with no deposit down. Our neighbor was a realtor who left us all the comps, and so I trained myself also 2 years of looking with the comps and found our house in Chandler, bought that, and then sold it. My ex-husband got his equity out of it when we split up January 2000, legally separated all assets. We signed off on the house in community property share. So I sold it. I paid the mortgage alone for years as a realtor, a single mother, and drove my kids to and from school, and volunteered in the class, and just a busy mom selling homes, and sold the house, made money, bought a one-story for my mom to move in, Denise Fox. And her house is in the family, it's called the Fox Family Trust, but it's an individual trust. It's her money and her property, and Denise Fox, and she's the trustee of her trust. It's an individual trust, not a family trust. And she passes on as a family trust to me and my brother and sister. And so that's my psychic reading, say people might be lying that it's family money today or family money for everybody, and no, it's Denise Fox's money only in her house. And I'm the first trustee of the house. And she made me first trustee of her trust, individual trust, a will, living trust, in 1998 or 95. Nancy Gail Fox, Tyson Taylor. So I was railroaded and set up and slandered. I bought the one-story house for Denise Fox to move in. I was going to lease her house in Sherman Oaks for $2,800 or $3,200 a month and fix it up and sell it for $850. So I got railroaded, slandered by my brother and sister in 2009, and my mom had loaned me money in 2007 because the real estate market slowed, and she offered it, loaned it, and said, you don't have to repay it. I said, I want to repay it. I'll just deduct it from my inheritance. So I planned to sell the house for $850 or $750 or $950 or $1 million even, deduct my money I borrowed from her, which was $70,000 for bills, for monthly bills, because the market slowed in 2007, and she wasn't worried about it. I was going to deduct the money I owed her and then put my brother and sister's money in CDs and leave it there till the day came, and that split it three ways, whatever, just say 250, 250, 250, or once, whatever it is. Because later on, I borrowed money anyway, so I borrowed money from her also in the fall of 2007 that she offered me, and I went to her and said, I think I have to sell the house. The market is slowing. No, I don't want you to sell the house. I'll loan you money. She planned to move in the house and did not want me to sell it. She said, don't sell the house, I'll loan you money. And so she loaned me money. So anyway, that was my plan, was to figure out what do I owe my mom, and then put their money in a CD, and then I would get nothing of the house or whatever it is. And so she said, part of the money, you don't have to repay it, and don't tell your brother and sister about the money. And she said, I hardly ever see Steve, haven't seen him for 3 years, and you're the one who lives near me, calls every day, who's devoted, who's a hardworking single mother, great realtor. And she wanted to loan me the money and said not to tell my brother and sister. And so I planned someday when I sold her house, just deduct the money that she'd given me and loaned me, and then put their money separate, and I wouldn't get that money out of the house. Or then I planned I'm going to work very hard and pay it off, so then I would get my money. But I borrowed money, and she loaned me money, and some of it she said you don't have to repay me, you don't tell your brother and sister. And that was in 2007. Then, in 2008, stalkers came swarming around our house. The real estate market slowed. My mom was diagnosed with memory loss, and I took 2 days a week off of work, single mom realtor, and that affected my income. But the money she loaned me in 7, I used for bills in 8. And that's because I was driving back and forth to Sherman Oaks and lost 2 days a week in real estate. And then my brother, out of nowhere, lied. I'm suicidal, which I've never been in my life. My sister lies out of nowhere. She's not taking a psychotropic medication, never taken meds, never needed them, and never will. Then pages of lies were told, calling dreams delusions, and those were psychic dreams I had. So they slandered me, set me up, made me so stuck, and my child support stopped suddenly. My car engine blew out. They hid my mom's car license plate so I couldn't borrow it. They took her will and her money and IRA and closed it all out and changed their checking account that I've been power of attorney on since age 18. And Denise put me in charge of her in her old age and planned to live with us. And it was all planned out exactly. And very soon Denise was moving in. I was going to work 12 hours a day, and my daughters would be driving. And this was just a flow in the real estate market, and my mother had memory loss. And out of nowhere, my brother